Okay, let's get started. Hello, Assalamu alaikum, everyone. My name's Ayesha Siddiqui, and I'm an Education USA advisor here in Lahore. We have a really exciting session lined up for you with Ayesha Aleem. She is a Northwestern alum, and she's worked at some of the top places in the world. And I'm sure she'll give you a more thorough introduction. I shall hand it over to you in just a sec. Before we get started, just a quick spiel on what EdUSA is all about. So you must have all heard of the USCFP, the United States Educational Foundation in Pakistan, because of the Fulbright scholarship. But the USCFP has a lot more to offer than just that. We have offices in Lahore, Karachi, and Islamabad. We have parametric testing centers in all these cities. We have sessions almost every week lined up for you, and the Global UGrad Scholarship, Fulbright Scholar Program, a host of things. Now, where we come in at USA is we are housed within the USCFP, and we are your authentic source on anything to do with higher education in the US. And one of our main services is one-on-one advising. And the cool part is it's completely free of cost. So it doesn't matter where in the process you are, whether you're just beginning to research your options or you're thinking of applying for the visa now, having gotten an acceptance, we're there for you, and we're just an email away. So if you want to help, you want help in your essays, if you want help deciding what the best fit for you is, what programs you should be aiming for, just get in touch with us. So without further ado, Aisha, I'm going to hand it over to you. And thank you so much once again for doing this session for us.
Thank you so much, Aisha, for the introduction. And I hope it's very beneficial for everyone who's attending and then everyone who's going to be listening to it later on. And thanks for recording this session. Hi, everyone. I'm Aisha. I'm back again with another session. I'm a Fulbright scholar. I went to Northwestern University back in the day, 2012. And then since then, I have had the opportunity to work for Uber and now at Meta, specifically on the business development sector. A lot of opportunities opened up. I'm very excited to share how this journey happened, what happened leading up to the journey, post the journey, and where I'm in the career now, some of the resources that are available for you guys to be able to achieve your goals. But before we start, just some housekeeping rules about this session. I tend to want the session to be very engaging. So essentially what I would like is for you guys to ask questions as I'm speaking, anything that you want to ask me, anything that I address, and you have questions, follow-up questions, or anything that you would like me to answer, or any questions you have about specific programs, and I'll try to address them to the best of my ability. Before we start, I know there were a few questions here, Aisha, why we still have you here, on people asking whether the program is going to be targeting grad studies or, UGrad as well. And my understanding is that this is for graduate program. I shall just hand it over to you for a quick second to respond to that.
Sure, Aisha. So the Fulbright Scholarship is just for master's and PhD candidates. So you can only apply for the Fulbright for master's and PhD. If you are just starting your undergrad program, you can look into our Global UGrad Scholarship, which is a free semester abroad in the US, all costs paid. So for this particular session, it's just graduate studies.
Fantastic. Shall we start?
Yes, please, Aisha.
All right. Here we go. So this is a picture that you see me there in the center back in the day, on my graduation day. This is outside one of the colleges of Northwestern. I went there during 2012, 2013. It was a 1.5 year long program. And it brings back fond memories. And there were two of my best friends during the program. And let's quickly now get into how this happened. So I've done my O levels in accounting and finance. Specifically, I was at a very early stage, I was very sure about what I wanted to do. And it's very okay if you're not. But I knew I didn't want to do engineering. I knew I didn't want to do medicine. So my subjects were very business oriented, went on to A levels. In A levels again, went for mathematics, accounting, finance. And then there was a little bit of what do I want to do? So there were a few things that I was interested in. I was very much interested in law, finance, and architecture. So these were the three things that I had to route and, sort of choose what I wanted to do. And then for my undergrad, I went to LUMS. I did finance and accounting. And, till here, I know a lot of questions would be, we don't know what we want to do initially. I mean, you guys obviously are already, I'm guessing most of you are in the undergrad stage and looking towards a graduate program. But it was the same with me as well. There were a few choices, and then I went for the one that I thought I was more interested, passionate about, and could see myself building a career. I'm just going to pause to see. Please get the questions coming. I'll be looking at the questions and answer, the Q&A session from time to time. And then from there, I moved on. I worked for about 2.5 years. So it's an interesting story because from finance and accounting, I started working as a consultant for about 1.5 years, specifically in a management consulting sphere where I worked with the likes of MySpace, Disney, and the company was based in Pakistan, and we were providing consulting services to them. And then 2.5 years later, around that time, 2010, 2011, we had a lot of the digital marketing was something that was just gaining a lot of momentum. It wasn't like it is now, right? So I started working for an agency. I did a chat with with a new founder. They hired me on the analytics front, and I was deeply passionate and got excited about how digital marketing could change how brands perceive marketing overall, right? Because there was a lot of traditional marketing happening out of home, and the traditional marketing front, and then digital marketing came and sort of changed the entire sphere. And that's when I realized I needed more education on that, because I was not trained there. I was very rigidly finance and accounting major, so I didn't understand anything about it. So I knew I needed some more formal education to get a better understanding. That's why I chose integrated marketing communications as the program. There was a lot of focus on digital marketing specifically and on the latest marketing trends. But I also was at this point thinking whether I want to do an MBA, whether I want to do like a master's. And I did sort of like a hybrid program because Northwestern offered that with one of their biggest and most popular business school programs at Kellogg. So I did like a cross chain there, which essentially meant that I did like a dual degree. And there were some programs that I did from Kellogg, which gave me, the more structure on general management and, how to sort of, which now looking back, I see helped me on the operation side as well. And then I also got the digital marketing analytics experience. And that's how I sort of went to Northwestern and got done with my Fulbright scholarship program. What I will quickly do is I will go over some of the questions as well to see if there are any specific questions on this front. I know it's hard. I know it's about graduate students. So can you kindly suggest some fully funded? Okay, so for this, you reach out to Ayesha separately on the EdUSA site, or her information specifically, I think would be shared, and we can do that later. And then you can ask specific questions. So let's look at the next question. If I'm already enrolled in PhD, should I declare it in the application for PhD or not? I think you should. If you're already in PhD, are you looking for a double PhD or a master's? I think it is always good to be upfront about where you are. Maybe you want to do another PhD, maybe you want to do a master's. You can mention that there. Can you tell me, is there an alternative certificate for GRE? Actually not. So I will go through the process, but you have to take the GRE to qualify for the program. How important is the factor of age? No factor at all. I was very young when I applied for the Fulbright scholarship. A lot of people do it straight out of university as well. Depends on the program. So it doesn't matter if someone's in the mid 30s or 40s or 50s. It doesn't matter. It depends on the program. What I would really suggest you to do is to look at what degree you're applying for. How hard is it for you to get into that program? And when I say how hard, do you need work experience? Do you need specific internships? What is it that program requires? Because at the end of the day, even if you get the scholarship, you need to get an admission. While, of course, the Fulbright scholarship helps they apply on your behalf, but you need to have those credentials. So that's what I did. And one more question for child O-level education in... And one more question for child O-level. I didn't get this question. Faisal, can you please ask this question again? I'm from Pakistan. I want need scholarship. Yes. So you can, if you need it for graduation, and graduation means post undergrad. Yes, this is the program for you. Mohammed Akram, you can type the messages. I think the mics are mute, but we will be very responsive over chat. How can I apply? I've done my graduation about thesis and research from an affiliate college to Punjab University. So the process is very simple. I'll get into that, but very quickly to answer your question, there's an application, there's a form that you can download. You fill in the form, you need your GRE, and then you need your TOEFL. TOEFL, I think you can also apply for TOEFL later on. When I say apply, you can give the TOEFL exam later on, and that's when you apply. If you get shortlisted, you call for an interview, and then once, if you make it through the interview, you get the scholarship program, and then they walk you through. It's a year before the program actually starts, which essentially means if you apply now in 2024, you will be going in the 2025 cohort. What are the other universities you stress other than Northwestern University in USA? I think it depends on the program. So you have to understand what program you're going for and then do your research. You will be given an option to, tell a list of your suggested universities or recommended universities. And then maybe, let's say you have 2 universities, and then the Fulbright program might select 2 more, and then they will apply on your behalf. So Zahid here says, I'm doing MPhil in pharmacy. At the end of 2024, my MPhil will be complete. I want to go for PhD and need your guidance. What should I do now so that I will be able to avail the scholarship right after MPhil? You're doing your MPhil, look at the form, see what program you want to do, what are the requirements for the program, and take your GRE and, start applying. I think we still have some time for the deadline, so you can make it to the 2024 cohort. Thank you for your session. Thank you. You're very welcome, Maheen. Lovely to meet you as well. My question is that how did your IMC give back to society, Pakistan, in your opinion? What did your personal statement embody marketing as that aided Pakistan? Yes, that was very important as well. I was very passionate, right? The reason I chose this program is because I saw the potential that it can have on the brands. So I think one of the things I did very, very quickly was Uber was launching around 2017. So I joined that. It literally helped launched Uber in Pakistan. So as you know, it has changed the complete dynamic. I spent about 4 years working in Pakistan, contributing in ways that I could. And now, even that I've moved back, Pakistan is one of the markets that I have been looking after while, during my time at Uber as well. So I've been in the region because I'm more passionate about this specific region, which is why I've stayed here and contributed. But what I learned was what case studies are used abroad. How can we bring some of those learnings back to Pakistan and use it in that environment? Because I'm sure you understand, in 2017, when Uber launched, it was a very alien concept for somebody in our society to get into a car with a stranger. And changing that mindset, how do we market it? How do we market safety? How do we market the brand? How do we market all the different elements? And I don't want to make it specifically about one brand or about a job, about what I did there. But long story short, understanding how things are done abroad, and you can do it. You can apply this to anything that you want to learn, right? You can get those case studies, get the learnings, and then use the local context and apply it here. That should be your main thing. And I think the second thing that you can do really well in this program, it gives you the opportunity to connect with people, build that network. That network can help you bring technologies, businesses, different things to Pakistan, which is the need of the hour, specifically now. Because while a lot of people think it's a very challenging environment, which it very much is, but it also hypers and brings about that opportunity for us, for people like yourself, to do more and to contribute more. I hope that answered your question. Let's move on to the next one. So Sharik says, I would like to ask as someone who has 2 years bachelor, 6 years of working experience, is there a possible candidate that I could apply for business finance program? So Sharik, you have to specifically go on the website, look at, shortlist the programs that you want to apply for, and look at what are the admission criteria. It's going to be very, very clearly mentioned. So a lot of people ask, what's the GRE score I need? So in the GRE, do your best in the GRE, but specifically look at the programs that you're applying for and what is that university's requirement. Hasnan says, I've done my 12th grade with this, I'm eligible. There is no criteria specifically that you need a certain amount of cutoff threshold for marks. The more you have, the better it is, right? So it is not about just your grades. Grades are an important part, but the good thing about this scholarship is it is a very holistic scholarship. When I say holistic, they look at the candidate completely. So they look at your grades, they look at your work experience, they look at your personal statements, they look at your social community work, your hobbies, your interests. So that entire application as a well-rounded application is considered. And then, of course, if you're shortlisted, your interview is going to play a huge role as well. So I shortlisted my program. I spoke briefly about it. I was really passionate out of accounting and finance. I worked into it, happened very randomly, though, wasn't planned. I worked in an agency, and there is when I learned about digital marketing, but I thought I needed more formal education. That's how I shortlisted the program. Universities, I looked at the best universities, the professors, the work they've done, the alumni. So I did a lot of research before, finally coming up with the program and then writing my personal statements. Ashfaq says, I'm currently doing my BS Applied Psychology in 5th semester. What do I have to do in 1 year that can enhance my selection process, such as what kind of activities and CGPA? CGPA is important. Do your best, get the best grades, not just for the scholarship, but also for the admissions. And communal activities, of course, they do add value. They show that you're passionate about the community. But what I suggested, be authentic to yourself. Do things that you're passionate about. For instance, I never truly just sat and said, I need to do A, B, C to get into the scholarship, but I was very passionate about autism. So I became a certified autism trainer while in my undergrad at LUMS. And then I contributed, which was a very alien concept again. See, I'm talking about 10 years ago. So at that point, nobody really knew about autism. They didn't know what it was. I didn't know too much about it as well. So I learned, I thought that my interest was there, and then I developed it. So do things that you're passionate about, whether it's the environment, whether it's education, whether it's healthcare, whatever you're really passionate about. Again, scholarships for bachelors, this is something that you can reach out to EdUSA. For this session, we will be focusing more on grad programs. The strong profile, and please feel free to ask questions with your name. Don't need to go anonymous, but if you want to, that's fine as well. You can make your profile strong by making it well-rounded. Show your hobbies, show your interests, community work, get good grades, make it like a nice, well-balanced application. And then on your personal statements and on your research objectives, you should really have that understanding of why the program, how your skill sets, sort of align with the program. And it could be very different as well. I'll talk about that. And then how do you contribute back to Pakistan because at the end of the day, that is the purpose of the scholarship, right? You're getting a full scholarship. How do you come back and how do you contribute to the community? So like a very well-rounded, thought out personal statement is what makes your chances more to get into the scholarship program and get the scholarship. So I really talked about the personal statement. I'll talk about it later as well. Can you guide for medical related fields? Unfortunately, you'll have to do your research on that because I don't have a lot of knowledge on the medical field, to be honest. Arthur says, is there any age restriction? No, there is no age restriction whatsoever. For none of the programs, there's no age restriction. Ishfaq says, my wife's done graduation 2010 microbiology. Can she get admissions in masters? Yes, why not? And if she meets all the criteria, why not? Okay, I'm going to pause here for a bit, come back and just talk about some of the things. They might address some of the questions already. So we'll start with Hamza's question after we sort of go into some of the other things that I have planned for this session. So we talk about the journey again. I gave the GRE, TOEFL, spoke to previous Fulbrighters. Very important, get their input. And, it's always nice to get like another person who has experience in the field to go over the research objectives and personal statements. I will share my details. Once you're done with your research objectives and personal statements, I can have a look and give you my feedback. So you can reach out to me in LinkedIn. I'm most responsive there. You'll get my details at the end of the session. So IMC, again, unique program. When I was applying, there were two top universities there. One was the NYU and Northwestern. I did get selected for both, but Northwestern aligned more deeply with what I wanted to do in terms of the professors, the research opportunities. And Fulbright was very kind to keep my consideration in mind when, giving the final go ahead on the program. And I talked about it why I selected Northwestern. A lot of you had that question there as well. Then once after that, the whole process happened. So once I got selected, I talked about the process, the interview happened, I got the call. The next stage was, the program, the universities, the application, which Fulbright very kindly does. And then the visa happens. And as soon as the visa arrived, I knew that I was going, I think it arrived around June or July, maybe. And I was not leaving till September. I started looking at accommodations, right? I reached out to the Fulbright community, got their input, people living in Evanston, what is the best place, what were my criteria. So I wanted to be closer to the university. I didn't want there to be a lot of walk because the weather in Chicago can be very, very testing. It's very cold there. So I wanted, a walking distance accommodation that was safe. And I had all of those criteria there and I wanted to be in center, like in downtown where, because I was living alone in the hustle and the bustle of the city. So those were my selection criteria. Your could be different, but please reach out to the Fulbright community once that happens and they'll be more than helpful to accommodate. Let's go back to some of the questions. Then I talk about the Fulbright experience. To what extent does the GPA matters? Not too much. When I say not too much, that's not the only thing. You still need to do the best you can. But there are other things as well. Does not mean if you are like a 4.0, there's a guarantee. It increases your chances, of course, but there are a lot of things that are there. How did you shortlist? I talked about this already, Hamna. What are the chances for success after a few years gap? After undergrad, again, it doesn't matter. Some people got the Fulbright scholarship based on their program right after undergrad. Some wait maybe 2 decades as well. So there is no bias there. It's a very fair, equitable program that gives everyone a due chance to get selected. Do we get a chance to choose a university? Yes, I talked briefly about that. When I say choose your university, you give your recommendations and then Fulbright scholarship. The program has experts. They know about the programs deeply as well. So they might select 1 or 2 universities and add them in just to have like a well-balanced number of programs to apply for. The probability of getting admitted to an Ivy League depends on your GPA, depends on how well your profile fits into that. A lot of people go into Ivy League universities as well. And I would say select a university based on the program that is going to give you the maximum reward once you graduate from the program. My academic qualifications in marketing field, but I want to pursue PhD in a different field pertaining to my professional work, public policy. Whether should I pursue PhD in the field in which I have academic background? Is it okay? You can go with any field. To be honest, you can make a story. Like I said, I went from finance and accounting into digital marketing, then into business development in my work. So that is very much doable. How do I get over the fear of GRE? Although I'm preparing for it and making progress, but still there's fear. Fear is very natural. Part of anything we do in life. I completely appreciate that it can be very daunting, but see, the good thing is how you can eliminate the fear is you don't just necessarily need to take it once. Let's say you've taken it once, you get a score which is not up to what you wanted or not, the score you think you need to get into university, you can always later take it again. So just do your best and know that you have options. That's how I look at any situation in which I feel that it is daunting. I try to look at a solution-oriented mindset. How can I work on IELTS preparation as IELTS? No, it is not required for Fulbright scholarship. IELTS not required, it is TOEFL. Can I submit 2 applications, one for master's and one for PhD? That I'm not sure about. Ayesha can answer that, whether you can submit 2 applications. My understanding it is one only. Ayesha, would that be correct? Yes, you can in one cycle.
And just a quick clarification from this year on, we are no longer requiring the TOEFL for selected candidates. It's Duolingo.
Okay. Yeah. There you go. And 1 application per cycle. So if this cycle you're applying for MS, then you don't. So you pick which one you want to go for. If someone did online masters in an engineering discipline from a university in the United States, will it hinder in any way affect the Fulbright selection? No, it doesn't, because as I said, it's a very fair and equitable process. I know my friends who went to Canada or other places in the US who got done with their undergrad and then apply. The only rule is you have to be Pakistani and you're applying from your home country, which means that, you know, you need to apply from Pakistan through this program. It will not hinder your chances. It's a very fair and equitable way. The selection criteria is fair and equitable. Which university provide Fulbright scholarship for medical degree? Again, on the medicine, see your specific fields you should be searching, but I think Aisha can talk about. Aisha, do you want to touch upon that?
Yes, so the Fulbright is not applicable for medicine, for people who want to study medicine. That's the only exception. I think the thing is that if you are required to study something that has you dealing with patients, that you cannot apply for a Fulbright for.
Thank you, Aisha. And then Akmal, let me take this last question, then move back to the presentation. So Akmal is asking, can you share university website link? Yes, I think it is going to be available in the presentation as well, and Aisha can share it in the chat as well for you guys. All right, now let's talk about some fun things on the Fulbright program that we got to do and that a lot of my fellow students who are there with me got to enjoy as well. So, you know, while it is, yes, you had a lot of questions, the process is daunting, and there's GRE, there's all of that. But, you know, you just have to remember that is what you're putting in, and it's a life-changing experience. I always say that even now, like 12 years into my career, whenever I talk, it becomes a part of your identity, and it's something that you will always be grateful for, right? You are always known as the Fulbright scholar, and you know, when it just comes with an immense amount of pride, not because you won a scholarship, but you're part of a community that have the same passions, that are passionate about their home countries, that are passionate about giving back to the community, that shared that experience. So that is what makes me the most proud about this specific thing. And that stays with you for life, right? You're a Fulbright scholar for life, and you get to really experience a different culture as well. You could have traveled all your life as well, but you know, traveling in this community is great. So there's some things that I did. I made lifelong friendships, not just in the university, but with other Fulbright scholars as well. Got to do some things for the first time. There was, you know, skydiving and zip lining and a lot of these things that I did. You know, as part of the Fulbright community, you know, some of the other fun things that I did, I got to travel quite a bit. I pretty much saw most of the US. There was a lot of cultural exchange. You got to understand how US actually, how people there live, as opposed to what your opinion is when you look at the pop culture and TV. So you really get to experience that, learn from that. I got to be part of the school magazine, a lot of extracurricular things that I was passionate about the autism program that I mentioned, and then, you know, a lot of fun stuff. So you see the picture there, that is me in Indiana, jumping out of a plane. All right. Let's go. Let's look at some more questions. I think you guys are probably excited about the questions, but I want to answer as many as I can. Kindly tell me how to prepare for GRE at home. So I'm also a certified GRE SAT TOEFL trainer. How you can prepare at home, there are a lot of books available. I don't want to derail the conversation. Very quickly, Barron's, there's Princeton Review. You can I prepped myself, so you can do that as well. If you want to take classes, you know, again, USCFP offers that as well. You can do that as well. They're very good resources available. I've actually partnered with them as well to do 2 sessions back in the day. So they're super useful. The teachers are excellent, and it's a really, really solid program that can help you and prep you if you have, you know, those fairs and you want like a little extra help. Abu Bakr, you're very welcome for this session. How much GRE marks are mandatory? I mean, minimum marks range to apply. So like I said, when people look at the GPA or GRE cutoff, I always say, you should be aiming for the score that your university requires, because it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, you need to be able to qualify to get to get the admission, right? Like for instance, for my program for Northwestern, I knew very early on that my program had a slightly higher requirement. So it wasn't just for me to get that score to get the Fulbright scholarship, but had I got the scholarship, not gotten an admission, there's very little that can be done. So that's how I want to do. So research, research, research. Mutsa asked, I've shortlisted twice for Fulbright interview in consecutive years, but I did not make the final list. What should I improve to clinch the scholarship? Excellent question. I knew someone, I was in a panel back in 2015 in the selection criteria. There was a gentleman with me. He applied for the Fulbright scholarship 12 times, got it the 13th time. Or maybe was it 16 or so? Like it was more than 12 times that he applied. Now, there are a lot of things, right? See, I also am going to take you on another angle. In some cases, you're applying for programs. Firstly, I will take a step back and I will say you need to reevaluate the program that you're applying for. If you got shortlisted till there, that means all your criteria met. When you're going for an interview, the panelists there sitting they're some of the industry leaders, right? They've been doing this for a long time as well. If you're not getting the scholarship, that does not mean that you're not extremely capable, because you're super capable because you got shortlisted, right? It is a redirection. Maybe try to reevaluate. Maybe the program is not the right fit for you. Maybe if the program is, you need to do a little bit more research. And if there is a struggle with the interview, maybe practice a bit more. Maybe there is somewhere you're unable to convince the panel and it's not coming naturally. So these are 3 suggestions and tips I would give you, but do not be disheartened. As I tell, so what? You didn't get it 2 times, 3rd time could be your time, right? So please do not be disheartened. And it is a very common thing as well. This is not the first time that I've heard that. So Ishfaq has another question. I've done my bachelor's 2006 from Quest in Pakistan. Please suggest any college, university where I can get admissions and masters. So again, Ishfaq, that's a good question. And I can sometimes understand a lot of people will do that for job selection as well when they're looking for jobs. Sometimes you have to like sit back and realize, what are you really passionate about? This is not a cliche, because a lot of people say, oh, do what you love, but you don't necessarily need to love it, but you need to have some passion or interest. You're going to be spending a lot of time doing that, right? So look at the program, what interests you. If nothing interests you, let's say, then look at what kind of job you want, or what kind of work you can see yourself doing, or what is your skill set. Like, for instance, you need that self-awareness. Like, I know, okay, these are the 3 skill sets that I have, or these are my strengths. Maybe I want to work on those strengths. Or look at the market. What is the market? What are the trends? Like, for instance, if you're in the marketing field, AI is the future. If you're in the social development field, climate change, sustainability is the future. So do your research, spend some time. Don't be in a rush or hurry just to do masters, because you're going to do it once, I'm guessing, or most people, maybe even if you do it twice, you're not going to be doing it repeatedly. You want to do it right, or you want to do it in a field which yields the result. This is not the end goal, though. I have to clarify that Fulbright is a tool to get to where you want to go. This is not going to be the end goal. There's going to be a huge journey that you're going to be taking on post this as well, and a lot of challenges. Another question, hello, can you later explain the difference between the study plan and the personal statement, and how does it differ from the traditional statement of purpose? Yes, so normally universities have one statement of purpose. In the personal statement, talk more about your personality, your interests, make it a bit more different than your study plan or research objectives, as it was called. Before, that is more related to make it more about a little bit about your work experience. I always say, let me make it more structured: past, present, future. This is what you've done. This is how it's going to contribute in what you want to do. So your present. And then from the present, how is that education going to help you, build a future, add to the community, make a change? These are the 3 buckets. And again, a lot of you might have a question, what have I done something in arts and dance, and now I want to do maybe law. So you can make that connection as well. I can also help you later on if you want me to review, like I said, your personal statements, but make it very structured. In your personal statements, please bring out a personality element that will differentiate you from the hundreds, if not, Aisha, in this case, thousands of applicants. You want there to be that flavor. I need to know who Taiba is, who Akram is, what is your unique quality. Maybe you like community service. Maybe there's a hobby that you have that other people don't have, right? So bring that unique flavor into your personal statement. Akram has a question. My 12 percentages is, do not be too bogged onto the scores. I know we all tend to get obsessed with that a little bit, but like I said, that is not a criteria. It has to be a well-rounded application. Hamna says, could you shed some light on how you shortlisted your? I think I talked a little bit about it. I won't go into detail. If you missed it, then you can revisit the webinar. Is GRE really hard? It takes time. It takes effort, like anything good in life, but no, it is not. Let's take a little bit of a break, go back to the presentation and see what else I have in store for you. We will have plenty of time in the end to answer all the remaining questions. So I think, and the reason I want to take a detour from this is because you talked about, is GRE really hard? So every challenge is an opportunity for you to elevate yourself. There could be test taking is a challenge, for a lot of people, there is that fear there. But think about, have your eye on the prize and think about everything, the hard work that you do now, the effort that you put in now is going to add. And, I'll share a little bit of story, and everyone's not like this, but, everyone's different. I had laser focus when I wanted to do PhD, when I wanted to do my master's, when I wanted to do Fulbright, I had laser focus. There were so many things that I just completely shut out. It seems very easy now for me to sit here and talk about, oh, I got the Fulbright and, I worked here, I worked there. Anything that I had to do, a lot of people sit in front of you and they say, I was lucky or I didn't do that. I had to work hard. And I have not in my life achieved anything without hard work. Yes, there's luck, there are a lot of that spirituality angle, whatever you believe in is there. But at the baseline, it had to be a lot of hard work. That's how I differentiated or tried to differentiate myself. I still say this, I might not be the smartest person ever in the room or at a job or in anything, but I was definitely and still am probably one of the most hardworking ones. So that's, what I want to, it's not easy, but once you know what you want and you want it enough, you will put in the effort. All right. More fun stuff. As you see, I've balanced it just to give you more motivation, right? It's not just hard work. So you see these pictures. These are from some of the pictures from my Fulbright journey. You see the one in the middle that is right outside the Northwestern Arch, one of my favorite places in the world. Have very fond memories. I'm there with my sister and my niece who got the opportunity to come and visit me during my summer there. Then I have another picture in Chicago during the festive Christmas time when one of my friends, then this is actually the Fulbright community, the international Fulbright community on the right here. Then this goofy picture here with two of my friends is, I think this is probably, I would say, Halloween, or one of the festive events where we were doing like a photo booth. And then the one on the left with the funny hat, that is from one of the road trips that we did. So a lot of fun, very enriching experience. And now I will tell you something which will really hit home. During my undergrad, I was working like maybe 20 or 30 times harder, and that's saying a lot, than I had to in this program, because this was something I absolutely loved and wanted to do. So it came very naturally. And that is something that I want for you guys, right? Do something that comes naturally. You don't want to be in a situation where you're there, but then you're struggling in the program. You can get the scholarship, you can get the admission, but you want to do something that you love, you're grateful for it, and you don't have to it comes naturally to you a little bit as well. And then you get that free time to, get that super diverse experience, meet people, network, travel, and make those memories. So, all right, on that note, let's look at some more questions. Can you talk about the financial side of the things at Fulbright? All expense paid. Aisha, I don't know if you'd like me saying that. It's a lottery ticket. It's a free, it's covering everything. Your fee, you get a stipend as well, your visa, everything. So, all of you guys who are feeling nervous about GRE, it's the only cost that you have is you just, maybe paying for GRE, and then for the TCS fee is how I looked at it, because GRE I had taken that. Or else there's no cost. It's fully covered, and it's quite generous. You're going to be quite happy. So what's a good score for GRE? Again, I answered that question based on your university, and universities might not tell you a cut-off range for GRE for that year, but they will tell you for the previous year. Or you can search, you can Google what is the average score for this program in this university. Try to aim a bit higher than that average score, so you have a deeper chance of getting selected. As you know, the last date of Fulbright scholarship is 28th Feb. Okay, Musaddiq, is there a question on this? I'm surely to answer. Ishfaq comes, Ayesha Aleem, please suggest your email address. Yes, I have I will share my LinkedIn. I'm more responsive there. So, I'm always on my LinkedIn. So LinkedIn for me is what Instagram would be for most people. So you can reach out to me there. Did you apply for the Fulbright on your own, or LUMS played a part? No, I applied on my own. I the kind people at USCFP and at USA, I think they visited LUMS and they talked about the program, and I got super passionate about it, and then I applied. So hi, I'm planning to apply this time. I got a score in GRE. I don't have any experience, but I've done voluntary work, and my first year is environmental law. Can I get it without work experience? You can get it if the university does not require work experience. My understanding is, I had a friend who did MSc in environmental studies right out of university as well. So I think, and please double check it, don't quote me on this, but I don't think you need specific work experience on that, but please do your research as well. I'm in the 5th semester of sociology. How can I start managing things from now to get admission in the States? So look at when you want to apply first and work backwards to see if you're applying through Fulbright, whichever year you want to apply in, look at that, work backwards, give yourself a few months, maybe, take the GRE is valid for 5 years, take the GRE in advance. So God forbid you don't get the score that you want, or you want to improve the score, to increase your chances. You have that leeway, start doing community work on things you're passionate about, build up a complete holistic profile based on the things that you're passionate about. GRE is mandatory. So Maheen says GRE is mandatory for scholarship programs. We can submit a GRE score after applying for a scholarship program. I think initially, I don't think so, right? You need the GRE score while applying for Fulbright, correct?
That's correct. You need to take the GRE by the deadline. So even if you just have the unofficial score, you still need that.
Yes. I was just making sure, because when we were applying for the scholarship, that was the rule. So I think it remains true even now. So till the Coursera courses will count as a plus point? Of course, I mean, you can say that you've taken those courses just to upskill or learn new things about your industry. So moving on, how is the GRE score if you don't mind sharing? No need if you're not comfortable. I am very comfortable to share, but I wouldn't want to. It was a good score. I was a GRE teacher as well. So I don't want to give any scores, and it was a good enough score for me. I started teaching GRE when I was 19 at Princeton Review. I was a certified GRE instructor. So it would be very unfair for me to share my score, but it was a good enough score for me to get admission into the program. But that does not mean, I had a lot of students who applied once, twice. It's one tip I will give you, because a lot of questions are about GRE. Any of the standardized tests, whether it's GRE, whether it's TOEFL, whether it's SAT, whether it's IELTS, it is about how well you can take the test. There are tips and tricks that you can learn to increase your chances of getting a good score. So do not, I know it can be very, very daunting, but do your research And maybe if you're feeling that you need support, it is very much okay for you to go to one of these programs and get support, right? It can also, a lot of people are not structured. So for instance, I'll give you an example. I have been into fitness for 2 decades now, but I'm not structured at all in that field. So I have a trainer. I know probably a bit more than the trainer because I've been doing it for so long, but I know myself. Know yourself. I know myself that I need a time. I need someone to stand on my head and say, you need to do that. So that is okay. So have that self-awareness. If you need someone, you might be really good at math or all of that stuff, but you need 3 hours a week to do that, then I would say go for one of the programs as well. And if you think you can manage and you're more disciplined, then you can do it on your own as well. If you do get selected as a principal candidate by Fulbright and they make your placements after this for any specific graduate programs, do you have to fulfill the specific requirements as well as portfolio submissions? Yes, of course. And I had to do that for Fulbright. I had to do, when I say for Fulbright for Northwestern, I had to go through 2 additional interviews and 2 essays. But there were 4 universities that were applied on my behalf. 3 didn't require, 1 did. And because I was so passionate about this program, I went through the process. So Imran says, I've done BE in computer systems engineering recently. I'm trying to apply for Fulbright. Do we get GRE test after submitting it? What do you mean do you get GRE test? You have to do the GRE test before the cutoff date, even if it's the unofficial score. I think that was your question. Is GRE home-based test is acceptable for Fulbright? Yes, it is acceptable. So Hamza says, so we have opt Duelings instead of TOEFL. Yes, TOEFL is now no longer needed, and that has now changed. Can we negotiate our university placements with Fulbright? Let's get the scholarship first. And let's focus on that. Don't worry about it because you don't know what you will make recommendations. Maybe all of those are picked. And from my experience, I would say that the team is very understanding. The reasons need to be legit. It happened with me. I had a very, very positive experience. So don't worry about that. Just focus on right now getting the scholarship. What were your top pick universities and why did you pick those? It was Northwestern was number 1 because of 2 professors that I really wanted to study with and learn from because of the books I'd read, in the field. And also it was and it is one of the top programs, one of the top programs in terms of the international students coming in and also in terms of the rankings. So that's how I shortlisted my degree or my program specifically. How does the application which mentioned university preference differs from the application without university preference? They just ask you, you just write the university names initially, and that is not taken into account when they're selecting you. It doesn't matter whether you put in what names you put in. For the selection of the scholarship, it doesn't matter. What if someone is already a PhD? One should opt for postdoc through Fulbright. That is up to you. I think somebody asked that question, whether you want to do another master's, whether you want to do another one. That is going to be your preference of how you see your education and career trajectory. Is there any scholarship for PhD public policy? I think that will fall in the PhD section. Is GRE compulsory? Yes, it is compulsory for PhD. Is there a way to get feedback on statement of purpose for Fulbright? From myself, yes, I do pro bono work. You can send me this, excuse me, you can send me that over LinkedIn, but please give me a few days. Give me like a week or 10 days for me to get back to you. Kindly again tell how to prepare for GRE at home as voice was not clear. Oh, I'm sorry. If you're preparing for GRE at home, look for resources. Barron's is like one-stop shop. Complete Book, Princeton Review is another book that you can use. There's Kaplan. I used all 3 books. You don't have to go through everything, but you can, pick and choose sections there. But also look for people who have done GRE if there are any tips and tricks that they can share with you. That also helps. I have 6 bands and IELTS, can I apply? IELTS is not, it doesn't matter. IELTS is not, it is not actually a requirement or going to impact your application in any way or form. So, hi, I'm an electrical engineer. Do I have a research paper or job experience as a plus point? Of course. Any research papers you have, you can share that. Any job experience, you'll have that. It is in the application. It asks you for your research work if you've done any, and for your job experience. Mudassir says, hello, ma'am, I'm currently doing MPhil in administration and management sciences with 3 years of corporate experience and 4+ years of experience teaching in various universities. Can I apply on Hope certificate for PhD program? Sorry, what do you mean by Hope certificate? I'm a bit lost there. I don't want to, but I think yes, you have experience. From what I get from the question is you will apply, but if you already have admissions in universities, if that's what you're asking, that does not impact you getting selected or not. When they look at the criteria, again, it's your GRE scores, your GPAs, your work experience, your research, your community work, everything in totality. Maheen says, how can we reach out to you working in marketing? You can reach out to me through LinkedIn. You'll have my information at the end. Is additional Coursera? Yes, it is helpful. Can you please tell us about the degree integrated marketing communication? Because I have a bachelor's. You can reach out to me individually for this. In the interest of time, I will not talk a lot about this. I'm going to move on now to some of the other slides, and then we'll come back to the questions. Just want to make sure we get through all of the slides as well. All right. Sorry, you guys can see my slides. Okay. Courses and internship. So I was a good academic student, reasonably good academic student in Northwestern. So this is about what I did at Northwestern. While I love the networking and the travels and everything, my focus still was on making sure I do really, really well in the program. And that was because I was passionate about the program. I wanted to, build a career. Please, like I said, that's just the starting point, getting Fulbright. You want to do well in the program, and you want to look at like the next 10, 20, 30, 40 years, however long you want your career to be. And that can only happen if you actually learn and get what you want to get out of the program, right? So these were some of the programs that I really enjoyed: brand strategy, consumer behavior, digital marketing, statistical analysis, ethical law, things I didn't know about and things that I wanted to learn about and why I wanted the Fulbright scholarship. And then in the middle of the program, I did an internship. It was a Google plus Bloomberg funded project in New York with a company called Brand New Media. So we wanted to assess the impact of digital marketing on financial institutions. So you get those opportunities as well in between, right? Depending on the program. So that was really, really great. I got to meet a lot of top leaders, learn from them. And then, even now I have those contacts. If I want to reach out to them, get more information, just connect with them. Make sure you're building those relationships with your professors, because you have to invest in networking, spend time with your professors, with your teammates, because they're going to be, most of these programs are international programs. So they're going to be students coming in globally from all over the world. So try to build that network and, make sure that you make the most of this opportunity. So pre-Fulbright, I talked a little bit about this already. I did autism, the Sunrise Institute is something I was passionate about. Post-Fulbright, how did I contribute? Somebody had this question. So I do mentoring and counseling a lot. That's through families as well. I also do that. I've joined the Fulbright conference. I was a UGrad panelist. I was also the panelist. When I say panelist, I mean in the selection committee in 2015, I was also in the Fulbright selection committee. I was one of the interviewers as well. I joined Uber right after. And then COVID and work from home. This is interesting. A lot of people talk about challenges, and there was a lot of adversity. I was in South Africa. I had just moved with Uber for a new program, and lockdown happened. Everything was shut down. I was alone in South Africa for a year. So at that point, I started coaching and mentoring people for Fulbright. And at that point, I started giving a lot of courses on things that I had learned, like digital marketing, negotiation skills. And that is something that I'm still very passionate about. And I try to do that any and every opportunity I get. But that is, Fulbright has been now over 10 years ago, right? I do it because I actually enjoy doing it. So always do things that you're passionate about. I'm reaching out to an Ayesha, and the team are kind enough to give me those opportunities, but I do it because I actually enjoy it. So always do things that you're passionate about. It will come a bit naturally. So again, scholarship impact, these were some of the questions. It makes a lifelong impact. It makes you a change maker. That mindset gets instilled in you. So for instance, when I was at Uber, while I do my day job, I'm also part of the Women of Uber community. Diversity and inclusion is a big part of what I believe in. So I've joined that community. I try to give back. We started volunteer and mentorship programs in SOS and SKMCH, Shaka Khan, when I was in Pakistan. So that sort of, it shapes how you sort of think. Then talking about skills development, upskilling. So post Fulbright, it didn't end. Like I said, it's the start. So at Uber, we had an opportunity, and Uber was a very full on, a startup culture. But I got this opportunity. They said, oh, there's these training programs available. So I got a degree from Harvard. Then it was a smaller degree, a 6-month associate program in leadership and strategy that was on top of my day job. I got the opportunity and I wanted to avail it. Then I went to Spain for Scott's work, certified in negotiation training. So a lot of you, and then of course I was also teaching negotiation courses. So a lot of you would probably be thinking you were lucky, you were at the right place at the right time, you got those opportunities. I agree. At some points, yes. But we all, maybe sooner or later, you will all also get these opportunities in different forms. But if you have that mindset, you will jump on that opportunity. Because when I was doing the Harvard University thing, I was at the peak of my career, right, in terms of the work, and I was establishing my career. But I was like, this opportunity wouldn't come again. And though that mindset will, Fulbright does help you shift that mindset. Before I go into the questions, we still have 5 minutes left. I'm open to connecting with you guys. A lot of you are asking me my email address and my LinkedIn. These are my details. Facebook, I've put it in. I don't use Facebook at all. I don't know the last time I logged in, but if you want to search me up, this is my Facebook. This is the best way to communicate with me. LinkedIn, I'm more responsive. Personal email, I check less frequently. So now very quickly, I want to quickly go into the questions so we don't miss out on the questions. So what that says, how important is the fact of age? Not important. No, sorry. I think we've done that. We were at 4. Yes, we were somewhere around here. Please share username. I've done that. Where do you get it? Yes, recommendation letters again is going to be important. I got 2 from my professors and then 1 from my work, depending on what life stage you're at. Maybe you can get all from your work colleagues or your bosses or whoever, like from a work setting. If you don't have work experience, maybe from an internship and maybe from your professors. Ms. Rita said that GRE home is acceptable for, yes. Isn't acceptable? Maybe reach out to send an email to Ayesha on this and she can, maybe you're confusing the name or what was mentioned. She can get back to you on that. Can we do a mock GRE test? Yes, you can. Not at the testing centers. You can do it on the site. That's what I did. Do we have any mock GRE before 20th Feb? Ayesha can answer that if you have any at the USCFP. LinkedIn, I've shared. I would highly recommend GRE for preparing. Okay, good. Hello, ma'am. My name is Usman. I wanted to apply for Masters in Film Design. How does it work? Research, see what is required. What is your current work experience and how do you fit in? Community service, social work is valued. It is valued very, very highly, but it is also valued by the Fulbright community. So remember that is something. It could be, work you've done during COVID. It could be work that you're doing now. It could be mentorship programs. It could be pretty much anything. It could also be some volunteer work you did long ago as well, if you want to make that something that's important. How did you come up with your study objectives? I researched like anything. I researched my programs, my professors, research papers, talked to Fulbright alumni. So I made it into a project. So I didn't do 1 or 2 days. I made it into a project and then got super excited about it and spent a lot of time in crafting the essay. Is there any financial assistance for GRE test as well? Ayesha can answer that. And please share sources for mock GRE. Mock GRE, you can easily take on the GRE website itself. And they're also available in the real. So there's a book called The Real GRE, the 10 Real GRE SATs. It was a red book, a big one. You can do some of the tests there. Are there any, we still have 2 minutes. Are there any questions that you have? I'm quite excited that we got about 100 questions done. I'm just seeing if we missed out on any questions. Good letter of motivation. Again, personal statement. Make sure your personality shines. Quickly, I'll give you an example. Somebody I knew this girl who qualified for the Fulbright scholarship, her entire personal statement was about her experience in pottery making. And it stood out. And I was in the panel at that point, and it stood, I still remember it years later. So bring that unique personality, whatever that is. One thing more I would like to, I know this is not about research, there's just one more thing I would like to add. Please differentiate yourselves. While I understand that, if you're differently able in any way, you want to highlight that, great. But in a lot of cases, when I'm reading essays, there's a lot of focus on, it's the same thing. I'm the first girl in my family or the first boy in my family to get education. That might be true. I'm not undermining that. You can mention that, but do not make your entire essay about it. The reason I say that is because everyone writes that. You want to differentiate yourself and make it super positive. Because remember, like if you're talking to someone or you're reading something, if it's positive, you're more interested. So the more positive it is, more full of hope it is, the more, the better chances you have. If I'm applying for MBA in fixed economy or treasury management, should I require to give GMAT after selection? Yes. In some MBA programs, you need GMAT as well. LinkedIn profile I've shared, and we're on time. Hopefully I answered all the questions. If there are any questions, you have my LinkedIn. Shout out to Ayesha for arranging this as always, and to Ed USA, and giving everyone the opportunity to, get together.
Thank you so much, Ayesha. This was such a wonderful session, and we got a crazy response. I think we've had over 150 questions. You went over more than 100 in just an hour. Outstanding. Thank you. Just a few quick things before we sign off. If you have any technical questions about your eligibility for the Fulbright, just send an email to the Fulbright Department, info@uscfp.org. They're going to be the best equipped to answer that. Any other questions that weren't answered, you can send them to us. I've shared the email address, lahore@educationusa.org. And if you think the Fulbright isn't right for you, you can always reach out to EdUSA and we can help you figure out a plan to apply to universities independently. So just wanted to say that. Once again, thank you so much, Ayesha. And if you have any parting words, please go for it.
No, you've summarized it really nicely. It was great having this session and connecting with everyone. Good luck with your preparation, with the applications, and I'm sure you're going to do really well.
Thank you so much, and we hope to have you back really soon.
Sounds good.
Okay,
Take care.
bye.
Bye.